To kick this one off, we head inside a restaurant where Max and Annie are having trivia nights with their own friend groups, but it's obvious they both share a passion for game nights. The two then see each other after they answer a question at the same time, and they immediately fall in love. We then get a montage of Max and Annie having mini game nights with some of their friends, and it's obvious they were meant to be together. After a year, Max proposes to Annie at a game night, and they end up getting married. After a few months, they're trying to get pregnant, but Max is shooting blanks, and it's apparent Annie really wants to have a baby. We also find out that Max's brother, Brooks, is coming to town soon, and Max is somewhat jealous of him because Brooks is really successful and living a lavish life while Max is living a traditional middle-class suburban life. A few days later, they arrive home after a doctor appointment and run into their neighbor, Gary, who is asking when the next game night is, and they tell him they don't have one planned. But they are lying because they are hosting a game night tonight. They just don't want Gary joining because they think he has been really weird ever since his wife divorced him. Poor guy just wants to hang out with friends. All of their friends gradually show up for the game night, and we are introduced to all of them. There is a couple named Kevin and Michelle, and then another guy that always joins, but with different girls every week. His name is Ryan, and he is sort of a player and doesn't really do the monogamous dating thing. Ryan tells them they should go to a Fight Club game night one night that rich people do for fun, but they tell him those are just urban legends and don't happen. As they start playing charades, they hear Brooks arriving at the house with a brand new Stinger vintage car, and Gary sees the commotion and now knows that Max and Annie lied to him earlier about game night. Brooks is a hit with everyone, and they all enjoy his company, and he is super rich. He is also really good at game night, and Max is annoyed by the attention he gets. After the game night is over, Brooks tells them he rented out a house while he is in town, and he wants to host the game night next week at his place. Next week comes, and everyone arrives at Brooks's house to see his elaborate game night he has planned. Ryan brought an older lady for his date this time, and her name is Sarah. Brooks tells them all that the game night they are having is not board games or charades, but Brooks has hired a company that will come and kidnap one of them, and then the others have to use a bunch of clues to track them down. Brooks says whoever wins out of the three couples will win Brooks's new car, and Max really wants to win the car. While they are waiting for the kidnapper, they start playing Never Have I Ever, and this is where Kevin learns that Michelle hooked up with a celebrity before they started dating, and he is super jealous and wants to know who it is, but she won't tell him. A man that is claiming to be a federal agent then knocks on the door and gives them details as to how they are going to solve the kidnapping and win the game. Then out of nowhere, two guys storm in the house and knock out the agent, and then start fighting with Brooks pretty physically, and the others are just smiling and watching, having a good time, thinking this is all part of the game. Brooks is then kidnapped, and they know he is now the target. Obviously, no one is taking the kidnapping serious at first. The couples all split up and know they are now each other's competition for whoever can find Brooks first. They start looking at the files for any clues on where he might have been taken. Max and Annie drive off first and are tracking his phone, and then Sarah uses her brains because she picks up Brooks's wallet and she uses it to find the number of the game place, so she can call and find Brooks that way. On their way out, Ryan locks Kevin and Michelle in a room to keep them stalled. Max and Annie track Brooks's phone to a bar, and they go inside with so much confidence, thinking they have just won the game. They think everyone in the bar are actors, so Annie grabs a gun and plays along by pointing it at the guys that kidnapped Brooks and making them lay on the floor. Jump over to Sarah and Ryan, who arrive at the gaming address, and they want to use their information to cheat and solve the game. They go inside, and at first the lady doesn't say anything because that would make the game no fun until Ryan tries paying her off with dollar bills, and she just bursts out in laughter at him. Sarah then grabs a $100 bill out of her purse and pays the lady off. Back at the house with Kevin and Michelle, they learn that the two guys who came weren't part of the game, and they were real kidnappers and weren't supposed to knock the agent out. The two guys really a part of the game then show up, and everything has gone terribly wrong. Everyone now knows the kidnapping was real except Max and Annie until they go talk to Brooks in another room, and he tells them it is all real and this isn't part of the game. They don't believe him at first until Annie drops the gun, and then Max is shot in the arm by a real bullet, and she thought the gun was fake. They all get into the car and drive off, and Brooks tells them everything about how he is a black market scammer and he screwed over the wrong guy, and now that guy wants him dead. Brooks doesn't want to drag everyone down with him, so he jumps out of the moving car and allows himself to be kidnapped again by the two guys. Max tells Annie she is going to have to take the bullet out of his arm before it's too late. They stop at a store to get surgery tools, and as she is looking for the bullet, she can't find it, and then Max realizes the bullet went completely through his arm. Everyone meets back up at Max and Annie's house, and they all agree to help out Brooks and find this expensive egg thing that he stole and give it back to the man that he scammed. They think it will be the only way Brooks can get out of this alive. The only lead they have is a man named Marlon Freeman, and they need to find out more about him. Ryan then says they should use a police officer computer with a database, and they remember Gary is a cop, so they go over to start a fake game night with him so Max can use his computer. Gary is happy to see that his friends are coming over to hang out with him, and while they are sitting at the table playing a game, Max says he has to use the bathroom, and he sneaks into the office where Gary's police computer is. While Max is searching through it, he is still bleeding from his bullet wound, and he gets blood absolutely everywhere. All over the walls and all over Gary's white dog. He does get the address he needs on Marlon Freeman though. Max tries cleaning up the mess, but he just makes it worse, and he hurries out of the house and tells everyone they need to go pronto. Max gets a call on his phone from the men that kidnapped Brooks, and they want to meet in an hour, and they will do a straight swap of Brooks and the egg, but they better bring it or else he is dead. They now have an hour to go to the address Max researched and find the egg in the house. They go to the address, and it is a mansion, and when they get in the basement, Ryan is ecstatic because there is an underground fight club taking place that he was talking about earlier. Everyone splits up with their couple to try and find the egg in the house. While Michelle and Kevin are searching upstairs, Michelle spills the beans that Denzel was the celebrity she slept with before they started dating, and he asks to see a picture of him, and whenever she shows him, it is a man that looks like Denzel, but it definitely isn't him. She feels super embarrassed, and he tells her he can be her Denzel. Ryan is down in the basement watching the fights take place, and he notices the egg sitting behind everyone near some jewelry. Whenever he goes to grab it, a guy gets knocked out, and Ryan is busted by everyone in the room. He then takes off running, and everyone meets back up, and we get a long montage of the 6 friends playing hot potato with it, trying to keep it away from the bad guys. They make their way out of the house and speed to the meetup spot. Max tells Kevin that he missed the turn, and whenever Kevin slams on the brakes, the egg flies out of Max's hand and breaks on the windshield, and they know they are so screwed now. Michelle then notices that the egg is fake and also notices a list inside of it that shows a bunch of different names of people in witness protection. They come to the conclusion the bad guys want the list and not the actual egg. Everyone comes out at the meet spot, and the kidnappers order everyone to the ground, but at least they have Brooks alive with them now. One of the kidnappers calls his boss and says he has them all ready. Brooks also tells Max that he has always been jealous of him since they were kids and not the other way around because Max has the perfect wife and the perfect life. Gary then shows up and goes boss mode on the 2 kidnappers, and he is doing his best to save all of his friends' lives. They think he has won until he is shot in the chest and is on the verge of dying until he gives the big reveal and tells them all he planned this game night, and it was all a sham. He wanted to show them how epic his game nights could be. The 2 kidnappers were just people Gary hired to help him out. Gary has no idea about any eggs, and that part of it was all real. Then Gary is shot from behind, and these guys are the real deal and the real guys that Brooks scammed. The man just wants his list, and he will be on his way. Brooks doesn't think they will let him live, so he swallows the list so they can't get a hold of it, and they then kidnap him again so they can get it out of him one way or another. The Bulgarian then takes Brooks to his airplane so they can leave the country, and right before they are about to lift off, Max and Annie show up to take out the plane's wheels so they can't get in the air. The Bulgarian's assistant comes outside to take him out, but then he is sucked into the plane's fan on the wing and is killed. Max is fighting with the Bulgarian trying to free Brooks, and as he is about to shoot Max, Annie drops a fire extinguisher on his head, knocking out the Bulgarian. Brooks is saved, and then we jump to 3 months later where all the friends are having more game nights. But they have to do them at Brooks's apartment now because he is on house arrest. They are playing a drawing game, and then Annie draws a bun in the oven telling Max they have a baby on the way. And that is how this one ends. Any other movies or series I should do? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.